Welcome again to the Global Chamber Atlanta Globinar for the month of May. I'm super excited to be on this call. My name is Donna Smiley. I am the Executive Director for the Global Chamber Atlanta chapter. And today we have a special guest, Mr. Charles Anderson from EasyBot. He is the Business Intelligence Officer, and EasyBot is a global software company advancing safe, structured participation in digital asset markets through automation, education, and responsible innovation. Driven by a passion for philanthropy and financial literacy, Charles empowers families in underserved communities to build lasting prosperity through cryptocurrency. And he will be talking about today scaling execution in the digital economy. And before he gets started, if you're not aware of Global Chamber and what we do, we are like I said, global chamber. We have 695 chapters around the globe, and we are all things business, international business, domestic business. So if you're not aware of Global Chamber, would love to talk to you after this call about what we do and how we connect business owners around the world globally. Charles, I'll let you take it from there. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much. And quick point of reference, can we promote Winston Thomas and Peter Anthony to the panelist section? Looks like we're waiting on Martin Thomas as well, but very excited to be in this venue. I'm going to start sharing my screen, and I'm grateful that we have this opportunity now to share EasyBot and a bit of insight that we have from EasyBot related to digital asset markets. This will be a very fun conversation, and it'll be pivotal to what's been happening with recent developments. So greetings to all and welcome. We thank you for your presence in this discussion and really just for the opportunity to share with you what we know about the rapidly evolving global economy. And so what we're discussing today, it's not cryptocurrency in isolation. It's not about trading. It's not about speculation. This is a conversation about execution in an increasingly mercurial global economy. This is how organizations can expand value for their consumer base without expanding overhead. And it's how automation and blockchain technology, specifically automated digital asset acquisition, how that creates new revenue paths. So today, the constraint is no longer opportunity. The opportunity is there. It's not about access. The access is there with reference to technologies. It's really about execution at scale. And so let's jump into what we've learned over the past 4 years of our existence. And so Ms. Donna, she mentioned that I'm Charles Anderson, the Business Intelligence Officer for EasyBot. And I serve that role proudly, but what it boils down to is I run reports and I verify that 1+1 = 2. And it's fun. I have a lot of fun doing that. But in my reporting and data analysis, we've come across a plethora of insight that is informative and transformative in nature. And it's imperative that we share this relevant insight with members like the GCC, the Global Chamber, and its guests. Okay. And that's what we'll be talking about today. We've learned a great deal about what's transpiring in the global economy. And the global financial system is moving from crypto speculation toward regulated digital asset infrastructure in the United States. Congress, the OCC, the Treasury, the SEC, the CFTC, the FHFA, Fannie Mae, all kinds of major private and public institutions, government and regulatory bodies, they're all signaling that digital assets are being integrated into mainstream finance, not pushed away. And so the key message for the chamber is digital assets are becoming part of the operating system of global commerce. We, EasyBot, we want to provide the chamber and its members with a practical, automated, non-custodial way to participate in that global shift. So let's go through some of these recent developments to help shed light on why anyone, any organization, individual, anyone may want to participate in the digital asset adoption that is taking place right now. And so, one of the biggest obstacles to digital asset adoption has been regulatory uncertainty. And so, just recently, the Clarity Act, it marks a major turning point, bringing clearer oversight, stronger consumer protections, and really a more well-defined framework for digital asset markets in the United States. While still moving through the legislative process, this is momentum, right? It sends a clear signal. Digital assets are transitioning from uncertainty to institutional legitimacy. And so this means that right now, the global power of the United States, we're not asking, should crypto exist? We're asking, how should it be regulated and scaled and monitored and integrated, right? And so the basic premise here, or the theme here is adoption is advancing. Adoption is advancing. One of the biggest barriers to digital asset growth has been that regulatory uncertainty. And today, that Clarity Act is defining clearer roles for regulatory agencies like SEC and CFTC. We have an established structure around emerging digital asset innovation. And really, this signals that the industry's maturing into a more organized, institutionally credible marketplace. And so, when regulators define categories, market participants gain confidence. Businesses, institutions, consumers, we are much more willing to participate when the rules become clear. And so, again, the adoption is advancing. A major turning point came, and this was actually in 2025, March. This was a major turning point when U.S. banking regulators, they cleared national banks to engage in key digital asset activities, including the custody of assets, stablecoin operations, blockchain participation. When traditional banking begins integrating digital assets, this signals that the market is maturing into that legitimate financial infrastructure. And so this major signal that crypto is becoming bank compatible, it's a big move, right? Banks are not being told to avoid the space. They're being told to engage safely, soundly, legally. Okay. Did you guys know that the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, the DTCC, they received a what's called a no action letter from the SEC. And this allows them to begin offering tokenized services for assets already under custody. What we're talking about is the actual tokenization of US stocks, exchange traded funds, treasury securities. And this is effectively placing traditional assets on the new technology, blockchain tech. And so again, digital asset adoption is progressing. And so we had the Genius Act that recently came out and was passed into law, and it represents another major step toward institutional adoption. We're talking about creating a federal framework for assets like stablecoins, digital assets, strengthening compliance expectations, and really protecting consumers when it comes to cryptocurrency. When governments begin structuring digital asset payment systems, it signals that the technology is becoming part of the future financial architecture. Okay. Adoption is advancing. So that was on stablecoins. Let's talk about the mortgage situation. Perhaps one of the strongest indicators of digital asset legitimacy is the emergence in housing finance. When institutions connected to mortgage qualification begin recognizing cryptocurrency holdings, this demonstrates that digital assets are increasingly being viewed not as fringe speculation, but as legitimate components of the modern financial wealth system. And so this adoption into housing finance, it expands cryptocurrency from a trading asset into a recognized financial asset. And if digital assets can support mortgage underwriting, they're entering one of the largest and most really conservative sectors of finance. And so, again, adoption is advancing. Take a look at what's happening with the tokenization of traditional assets moving into institutional capital markets. One of the most compelling indicators of the future of blockchain technology is tokenization's entry into institutional capital markets. And so when organizations like BlackRock, NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, when they begin advancing tokenized securities and 24/7 digital asset market infrastructure, this really just confirms that blockchain technology, cryptocurrency, is becoming a foundational layer of modern finance. And so, again, adoption is advancing. And a few more examples of what's going on. Overt sign of blockchain's global importance is its role in reshaping international payments, right? When the Bank of International Settlements, BIS, and other major central banks begin building tokenized cross-border settlement infrastructure, this is confirmation that blockchain is becoming a foundational layer of the future of global commerce. And so for the chamber, global commerce is like that network. Cross-border payments are one of the most direct blockchain use cases of global business, right? And so for the purposes of this discussion, what we're seeing again is that advancement of adoption. And the point of this discussion is preparation to be on the other side of that adoption as opposed to chasing it, right? And so we got major corporate players that are already involved. They're already on the other side of the adoption. They're positioned appropriately to benefit. And so there's clear evidence of blockchain's maturity in real institutional execution. When organizations like JP Morgan, MasterCard, Ripple, Ondo Finance, they successfully complete tokenized cross-border financial transactions. And that's a matter of history. It's already happened and it's done in seconds, not 1 to 3 business days. It just confirms that the technology, blockchain technology, is not merely an emerging technology, it's becoming operational infrastructure for modern global finance. Ladies and gentlemen, global economy is changing. Adoption is advancing. And so we have exchanges now. And so an exchange is a marketplace for digital assets. A very strong indicator of financial transformation is the actual evolution of these exchanges into broader investment platforms. As tokenized stocks and tokenized ETFs gain significant adoption and more trading volume, it really just confirms blockchain technology is expanding rapidly. And there's access to more global, digital, and always on financial marketplaces. And so digital asset exchanges are evolving from crypto only into broader tokenized market access platforms. We have to be involved if you plan to stay relevant, right? Adoption is advancing. And one of the most compelling signs of digital asset maturity is the shift toward stronger customer protections. And so if you intend to be in digital asset markets, you do want to remain safe in that space. And as lawmakers prioritize things like transparency, accountability, the reduction of fraud, waste, and abuse, education, and safeguards for market participants, this is just reinforcement that digital assets are evolving into a more secure, a more well-known, more well-trusted, and institutionally credible component of modern finance, right? And so the most important trend is not deregulation of the market. It's really the structural adoption of the market coupled with consumer education. And so the basic point of mentioning all these recent developments, we know that government and regulatory bodies, major corporations and institutions, These guys are playing a big role in the advancement of the adoption and the change of the global economy. The global economy is advancing. There are major players involved and they're well positioned. Digital asset policy is progressing. A passive stance on whether or not you should participate, it's not an option for an organization if it intends to remain progressive, innovative, and relevant. Uh, Automation is the bridge in the gap between where an organization may now be with reference to digital asset participation and where it can go with reference to its future. And so the core argument here is for the chamber, don't view automated digital asset accumulation as simply cryptocurrency trading tools. The chamber should really view the technology as an automated digital asset participation model that can help its ecosystem introduce members to digital assets safely and structurally, create new member value without the chamber building its own crypto infrastructure. It can position the chamber as a forward looking global commerce powerhouse. It can generate potential revenue streams that can support member benefits or education for its members or even community reinvestment. And really, digital asset participation or the automation of it, it helps members participate in the new financial ecosystem that's becoming increasingly regulated, institutional, and global. And so crypto adoption is no longer being driven only by, we call them retail investors. It's being advanced by entities like Congress, banking regulators, central banks, right? Wall Street, mortgage institutions, global payment networks, and major exchanges. The question for the chamber is not whether the shift in the global economy is happening. The question is how the chamber wants its members positioned as that shift and advancement accelerates. And so there's a problem that we address with reference to the digital economy. It, the, the execution problem, right? The digital economy does not operate on business hours. Opportunity moves continuously. Markets never sleep, and manual execution simply does not scale fast enough to keep pace. So, for organizations seeking growth and expansion, the real challenge is not access to opportunity, it's in creating a scalable way to participate in it, right? And so, across industries, one challenge remains constant. Execution does not naturally scale with effort. Leaders are constrained by time, attention, and the limitation of manual engagement. Yet, today's digital economy never sleeps. And so markets move continuously, opportunities emerge globally, and traditional models that require more effort for more output, they simply no longer scale. And so the question is no longer whether opportunity exists, but how to participate in it efficiently, strategically, and at scale. And this is where automated digital asset participation becomes strategically relevant. Okay. We are now operating in a truly global, always on digital economy where opportunity no longer waits for those business hours. Digital assets and block tech are not only evolving rapidly, they're going, or I should say, they are gaining increasing institutional support. And so, from regulatory framework and banking integration to institutional investment access, the message becomes clear, right? This is not a market being pushed aside. It's a really a new financial ecosystem being structured, legitimized, and prepared for broader adoption, much broader adoption. Okay. And so the question becomes, how can organizations like the chamber strategically participate in this expanding digital economy? How, right? And so we talk about Web3, how it's often explained in technical language, but from a business perspective, It represents something much more simpler, a shift in how value is created, exchanged, and owned in the digital economy. It moves us from centralized dependency towards broader participation, transparency, and digital ownership. More importantly, this is no longer just a technology conversation, it's an institutional one. When regulators, financial institutions, and global markets begin aligning around a new tech and a new asset class like cryptocurrency, it signals long term strategic relevance. So, the strategic question for organizations is not whether this transformation matters, but how they choose to participate and take advantage of the transformation. And so, in a digital economy that never sleeps, manual participation quickly becomes a constraint. It's no longer a valid option. Markets move continuously, opportunities emerge globally, and the pace of innovation accelerates faster than human availability can really keep up with, right? So, automation solves for speed, consistency, it solves for scalability, because when participation solely depends on your time, the growth is naturally capped. And this is precisely where automated digital asset acquisition becomes strategically relevant, not as speculation, but as scalable participation. And automation alone can't solve the problem. Automation creates the capability. The strategic alignment has to be there in order for the impact to be gained. So, said a different way, again, automation creates capability, but strategic alignment creates the impact. The right innovation should support the chamber's mission, right? It should generate measurable outcomes and value and strengthen the ecosystem in which the chamber serves. So, for the global chamber, that means expanding member opportunity, enhancing organizational sustainability, introducing forward looking innovation without introducing any unnecessary complexity. And this is exactly where the automation of digital asset acquisition becomes that strategically relevant point. Not merely a technology, but an economic participation model. And so what we've put together are 10 strategic benefit pillars. These reinforce the concept of execution, expansion, automation. Execution is continuous opportunity without manual effort. Expansion is scalable economic participation. Automation is that algorithmic enablement. And so we want to support the conversation on how does digital asset acquisition align with the chamber's mission? Well, we're talking about increasing member value, providing community impact, and creating commerce leadership. Automated digital asset acquisition addresses a critical challenge of the modern digital economy. How to participate, right, in continuous global opportunity without continuous manual effort. And so for the Global Chamber, this is not simply about blockchain tech. It's not about cryptocurrency. It's more about creating a scalable economic participation model that enhances that member value, that generates measurable outcomes, that supports community impact, and it just aligns with the Chamber's mission to be a leader in the future of global commerce. And so as we conclude, I'll leave you with this thought. The future of commerce will favor those who not only understand the innovation that's impacting it, but know how to participate in that innovation strategically. And so we welcome questions as part of today's discussion. And for any chamber member or guest who would like more of a personalized conversation about how automated digital asset acquisition can support their goals, whether individuals, businesses, or community focused like nonprofit, our team would be honored to schedule a group or personal private consult and provide further guidance. But the core argument here again is being able to participate in the digital asset market, because adoption is advancing. It is not going to stop. It's going to accelerate. And so we're looking to help people, companies, organizations become well positioned to benefit from what's taking place right now with reference to digital asset adoption. And so that concludes my time. I think I was right in line with the
You
time.
were.
Hey,
Thank
there
you,
we go.
Charles. Thank you so
Nice.
much for your presentation. So I have a question to start it off. And if anyone has a question, you can definitely unmute yourself. Mila, if you can help me with that, that would be great. So, like myself, I don't have crypto. I'm not in that digital realm. It's a little bit above my pay grade. But for someone like me that is very new to crypto and that whole world over there with EasyBot, how can you explain to someone like me that's very new to that what you all do and how it benefits me to get involved?
Absolutely. And is that an okay topic of discussion in this, or are we talking about
Um,
a
say
scheduled meeting?
Um, I think it's okay. I think Doug, and you can let me know if it's okay. But I just for people that may be like, okay, what does
Sure.
EasyBot really do? And how, can somebody get involved in something like that? It can be a high level situation. It doesn't have to be, complex.
Perfect. And so, as a company, and we launched about 4 years ago, March 2022. So, we've been operating for 4 years under the premise that we're going to help as many people as possible connect to the digital asset markets, but in a safe, secure, and profitable way. And so, the goal of EasyBot is to educate the average consumer on how to enter into the digital asset market space, which is volatile and riddled with fraud, waste, and abuse, right? And so, there have been plenty who want to get into digital assets because it's so profitable. But the volatility and the scams have caused people to either one, take losses, or two, not want to get involved. So, Income EasyBot, a software company that provides a digital asset acquisition tool that is award winning and obviously elite, that helps people get into cryptocurrency the safe way, a consistently profitable tool that operates all the time and takes away the need for mitigating volatility risk or learning about the market or being a day trader or having expertise with reference to cryptocurrency. And so for us, first, education of the consumer. Second, profitable consumers just by using our digital asset acquisition tool. And so at our core, we are just a software company. The benefit of making use of our software is that we get to educate consumers on how to be in this pivotably profitable space, digital assets, but you're safe and you're profitable all the time. And so that is our product. We provide a tool that anyone can get, anyone can deploy, they can be in cryptocurrency, and they can be rest assured that they're profitable and they're safe. So there you go. Hope that helped.
That did help. And as far, oh, wait, do we have a question? I do see Wendell, if you want to unmute yourself.
And Mila, can we promote Martin Thomas to the panelist section? I'm sorry, I didn't see him earlier. My executive team is here. You guys can help answer any questions that you might want.
Wendell, you're unmuted.
Good afternoon. Ms. Donna, you are about to hit a topic. Mine's a very simple question, so I can wait till you're done. That's not
Oh,
a
no, go
problem.
ahead. No, you can go ahead. Thank
Okay.
you.
So in the 4 years of EasyBot, I was invited by one of its members or someone that's been using it. How many customers, I guess globally, I believe this is a global company, how many customers, rough estimate, do you guys service or help in the last 4 years?
Yeah, sure. So we got about 80,000 registered users. We have 172 plus countries that we operate in, 90 different languages. We have a ton of trading volume. I think it's over 1.65 million, closed over 24 million trades. So really a large global community. The the vast majority of our consumer base is in the United States, about 30%. And then the other top 10 type countries include Germany, the UK, Poland, France, Canada, Spain, etc. And so a really global company, international, right? All different kinds of languages, different walks of life. We serve anyone, anywhere where there's access to the internet and an exchange from which to operate. We don't custody assets. Again, we're just a software company. And so whenever there's an exchange, a reputable exchange that people can make use of. EasyBot can work for them. But yeah, about 80,000 or so registered users for our member base right now.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's the kind of things I would like to hear. Just how large, because at different scales, there's different not problems, hurdles, let's call them,
Sure, sure.
that you're gonna have to cross. Because I've been in this space for quite a while, and as the organizations get bigger, yeah, the headaches get bigger, but the companies sometimes or sometimes not can handle the headaches that they either foresaw eventually or the craziness that can ensue when wealth is being generated at a very large scale. It's headaches that companies are not ready for. They may think they are until it hits, and then it's like, whoa, what the world? And it's usually the U.S. that's the pain in the butt, along with Canada,
Right.
doing the absolute most, which is utterly ridiculous at this point. But nothing stops change. It's undefeated. Crypto's here to stay. Bitcoin's here to stay. The blockchains are here to stay. We're moving forward as a world, but
Yes.
again, those powers that be, they're not happy when freedom is really being dished out. So, yeah, I'll follow back up with the person that invited me, and I'll touch base with them to see in the coming weeks and months. Keep my eye on what you guys are doing, and then decide where to go from there as far as introducing this to what we're doing to help people get free and change the world as well. Just adding this in as another vehicle, if you will, to our fleet, because it takes fleets today. No more one income. I don't care what it is, how big it is. If it's your job, your career. If you have one income stream in 2026, you are in the world of trouble. And if it's based on the dollar or any of these fiats, you are definitely in the world of trouble. You just don't know it yet. So I do thank you for the time to speak.
Absolutely.
You guys are doing a great job from what I hear so far.
I love your perspective, and I do want to say I attribute the longevity of our company because it's very hard to operate in the space in which we operate in, and we've been doing it for over 4 years now. And we won an award from the Government Blockchain Association for organizational excellence. It just speaks to the prowess of the company, but I attribute our longevity to the vision of our leadership, coming down from Dr. Ali, the chief executive officer, and our executive team members, including our ambassadors and our community members. Collectively, we are like family with reference to EasyBot, global family. And we're looking, right, as a family to help each of us improve our own lives via digital assets. But the reason why we've been around for so long is our leader decided to put people first. And so, yes, we have a product that you can pay for to make profit from digital assets. But most importantly, we're putting people first. We're educating consumers on how to get into the space or be safe in the space. The profit will follow. But he came with the vision of putting people first. And so that's why we're still around for so long. We're doing the right thing by people. And what we've learned from our community is that most people are coming over to us because they experienced a bad circumstance in digital assets. And so they find safe haven with EasyBot. That's why we've been around for so long. So thank you for your question.
Yes, and I see another question. Kashfia, did I say your name correctly?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Donna.
You're welcome.
So thank you so much for the very informative and engaging presentation, Charles. Firstly, I'm I'm the advisory board chair for Global Chamber Dhaka.
Nice.
And my question, and I'm a career auditor, so of course my question is, I know it's great and we have to move forward, like what Wendell was saying, but I always think of all the things that can go wrong. So since you've been in, your company has been in this business for so very long and you have a lot of experience with many consumers, and I'm guessing the consumers could be individuals as well as organizations. What do you think when it comes to the compliance and the internal controls of these companies, them dealing with crypto and digital assets? How strong do you think that is? Or do you think that the education for the internal controls and due diligence and compliance governance mainly is enough yet for them to deal with these things?
So consider that the regulatory framework globally is still underway, so to speak, right? And so as time progresses, we'll get laws, policies in place that will give those participating in such markets a better idea of how to operate. For now, though, right, depending upon someone's geographical jurisdiction, the regulatory body in that area will dictate how a company should operate. Outside of that, right, there are several, I'll say, rules of thumb that entities might want to make use of in order to have a satisfactory customer experience inside of digital assets. That'll be up to the individual company, but there are standards that we try to teach in EasyBot to help any entity get from point A to point B in digital assets. And those really include things like being able to recognize the red flags of scams or putting guardrails in place to protect consumers from loss of assets. One of the things that we pride ourselves on, again, we don't custody assets. We said, let's make use of established bodies, established digital asset acquisition platforms that already do that work. And all we need to do is provide software that connects to the platform via API. Thereby, we minimize the risk of loss for our consumers because their assets aren't held by us. If we close our doors today or tomorrow, no one's at loss. The exchange still exists, right? And so I say all that just to mention that the conversation about compliance, policy, procedure, regulation, et cetera, it is so important and so prolific in this space. And if you don't talk about it daily or ignore it, right, a company's not going to be around very long. So we are always advancing and changing with that regard. It's one of the reasons why we partner with the Government Blockchain Association. They have in play an assessment that the government uses that gives validity or credibility to companies that operate in blockchain space. And we are right now developing a secondary assessment that would allow a company like ours to be listed on the United Nations website as a trusted solution provider that says, this is what EasyBot does. They don't operate a blockchain. They're just software, but you can trust them because of X, Y, and Z. And so we're committed, right, to being transparent. We're committed to remaining compliant. We're committed to serving our consumer base in a way where, one, we don't get in trouble, but we don't cause them any due harm because of our operations. So hope that answered your question.
Yes, very much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Great question. Do we have any other questions for Mr. Charles? If not, I'll still keep going with my questions.
Well, actually, I don't have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't actually have a question. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here. I just wanted to see if our CEO, because he's in Dubai and it's very late, maybe he can just come on in really quick and introduce himself officially, so that way we can know and see the transparency that we have, in this company. Every Tuesday, he is there talking to the community. So there's no hiding behind computers or masks. Trust me, as a global sales director and being in the crypto space for 8 years, we've seen it all. But EasyBot makes it so transparent. Safety is high on the scale, and most importantly, the user's experience is, bar none, one of the highest in terms of support. And it's all because of our CEO and the team he has put together to allow this to be the experience for the users.
And my strong apology, I didn't even.
No, it's not. It's
consider
not at all. I was looking at the time for Dubai, and I was like, oh wow, it's getting late.
Yeah, Mr. Ali, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Welcome to the Global Chamber call.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. I think the team is doing really great. I don't have to say anything, but just a short introduction. My name is Muhammad Ali. I'm an engineer in profession, and I've been living here in Dubai for the last 25 years plus. I did my engineering here and worked in the elevator industry, but now I'm doing the crypto since 2020 actually. Started with mining and then started teaching people how to get into crypto, and then we started EasyBot in 2022, and until now we're here to stay. So what I want to say is that yes, someone mentioned that when you're launching a business, things will happen. You have problems in between, you have issues in between, and that always happens. And the road is not always clear of what needs to be done so that you can continue your business. But if the vision is clear and your target is clear, is that what you want to achieve is clear for you, then everything else can go away and you can skip all of those issues and those problems. I'm not saying that we did not have any, but we had a lot. But we had the vision is much clearer than the issues. That's why we're still here 4 years plus, and hopefully in 10 years we will be talking about the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Well, while I have you, what is one misconception that people kind of have about cryptocurrency that I would just love to hear from you and your perspective on that?
Just one?
Maybe, or two or three while you have the time.
That's a very good question, actually.
Yeah.
And this is the problem here, is that people think that cryptocurrency is made for criminals, right? It's made for money laundering, made for, I don't know, whatever the criminal activities that can be done in the world, they are done through crypto. But in fact, the cryptocurrency was made for the exact opposite. It made for transparency. It made to make trust between people. If you go back to the origin of the blockchain technology when it was invented in 1991, it was invented for exactly the same thing of making trust between people and making sure that whatever transactions happens, whether it's money or something else, it's clear and transparent for everyone in the blockchain, and anyone can have access to it. So people have to remove that from their mind so that they can get into the crypto. Right now, the first thing you get from people when you tell them about cryptocurrency or any business regarding cryptocurrency, the first thing they come into their mind is the fear. They have the fear about Bitcoins because they did not use it before. They fear Bitcoin, they fear all cryptocurrencies and so on. And just to be frank, there are many cryptocurrencies that are scams. I mean, they've just been created by someone for the sake of pumping the price for a few minutes, maybe a few seconds, and then the price comes back up again when they sell their own crypto and so on. But that's not what we are in. We are into the main cryptocurrencies and into the software that help them to trade their own currency within their own exchange, within their own account. So to answer your questions briefly, it's the fear, basically, what we get from people. And the misconception that they have is that the cryptocurrency is made for criminals and for the bad activities, while it was actually created for the exact opposite.
Thank you for that. And another question for both of you can chime in. I do commercial real estate in Atlanta, Georgia. It is my background for the last 11 years. Do you see real estate going in that direction of you using more cryptocurrency as a currency to be able to purchase commercial property or even residential property in the future? Because I know in some markets they already do that, but do you see that as a growing thing over the next several years?
Yeah, 100%. We know that that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac already started that conversation, that process, et cetera. Better Homes and Finance partner with the major U.S. exchange Coinbase on a token-backed mortgage product designed with families in mind. It's not a question of whether or not it may happen. It's going to happen. The framework is already in play. The guardrails are being put up to protect consumers. And so 100% it is going to happen. And I guess the question that we like to pose to people is, are you going to be appropriately positioned to benefit from it or be involved with it, so to speak, as opposed to taking losses from it? But 100%. Blockchain tech is going to be integrated into every industry that you may consider. It's already in healthcare, the legal field, science and tech. It's obviously in finance, housing finance. I mean, it's moving. That adoption is advancing, and you are going to see it in real estate. I wish our other global sales director, Mr. Martin Thomas, was here. He's in real estate as well. You guys would have an awesome conversation.
I'm here, Charles. He has his hand up. Yeah,
there you go. Oh, can we promote Mr. Martin Thomas to panel? My apologies, Brother Martin. But again, to answer your question, yes, you will see it in any industry in which you're working. In all honesty, the purpose of blockchain tech is to minimize fraud, waste, and abuse because it's immutable and transparent. But our first use case of blockchain tech was not related to fraud, waste, and abuse. It was related to freedom and finance. Bitcoin came out 2009 or so, and that's what started everybody looking at blockchain tech as a viable option to implement in other industries to help change that industry to be more transparent and more safe for the average consumer. So you're going to see the proliferation of BT in all industries, 100%.
Thank you for that. And I guess my next question would be if someone is just starting out brand new, does it take a lot of money to get started in crypto with like EasyBot? Like does it take much or is it like just a little?
Yes, we want an arm and a leg, but no, in all honesty, anyone's journey in digital assets does not have to be one, expensive, two, difficult. For us, we like people to make contact with our Global Chamber of Commerce liaison, Lisa Pearson, and she can set up conversations between individuals and EasyBot. But to get started in digital assets, it's not expensive at all. And again, it doesn't have to be difficult, hence EasyBot, right? And so, someone just starting off, they can get set up on a trusted exchange in the United States or abroad, like a Coinbase or a Kraken, or if you're outside of the United States, Binance, to name a few. Once you have an exchange, and everyone should have an exchange, whether or not you're making use of EasyBot, you should have access to an exchange. So definitely set up an exchange account for digital assets because why not, right? But once you have an exchange, EasyBot is the software that you can get a subscription to help you be in digital assets profitably and safely. And so we offer resources to educate consumers on how to be in digital assets, but also how to be profitable in that digital asset space. And our vision for the chamber would be at no cost to the chamber is able to offer EasyBot as a solution or a compromise for its members to add value to your member base and to add that innovation as a global commerce leader across your constituents, right? And so you guys can connect with us. Again, no cost to the chamber, just have the ability to offer EasyBot, and there's compensation involved for that. Okay.
Perfect. And while you have this slide up,
Oh, sorry.
Lisa,
Let me.
I was going to say, Lisa, I would love for her to hop on the call for a second. I know we have about 10 minutes left, and I'm not sure if Doug, our CEO of Global Chamber, is on the call as well. But Lisa, I would love for you to just introduce yourself. Lisa and I are in Atlanta. And when we talked, we just had our first call was just amazing when we met each other. And I'm so excited to have her on my advisory board here in Atlanta. I think she has a wealth of knowledge. So, Lisa, if you have a moment, can you unmute yourself and just, speak to the group? I know that she brought Charles and the EasyBot team on. She said, "Oh my goodness, I have a great speaker for you on crypto and what they do." So, thank you so much for connecting, EasyBot to us. So, Lisa, if you have a second, please introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you, Donna. So my name is Lisa Pearson, and I could not be more excited to be here today. Two of my most precious partners together, hearing EasyBot as a corporate partner speak about education in the cryptocurrency space, and then, of course, Global Chamber, who we've been partnering back and forth for years. So super excited to be here, really enjoying the discussion. Looking forward to more of a partnership with the Global Chamber and EasyBot and see what that brings. But definitely super excited to be here and thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Well, before we close the room, are there any other questions that anyone has for Charles? Don't speak all at once about it. I believe I see some other individuals in the room. Ruby, I don't know if you're able to speak. She is a executive director in Ghana. So I'm not sure if she's able to speak at all, but would love to hear her insight on this if she's able to. Wendell, I see with a hand. If you can unmute yourself, as well as Martin Thomas. Or Martin, do you want to go first? I see you're already unmuted.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Martin Thomas. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I wanted to speak directly to what you were saying because, like yourself, I'm also a commercial and residential realtor here in the Maryland, D.C., Virginia area, and I'm
Okay.
one of the global sales directors here with EasyBot. Crypto is not coming to real estate; it's already here.
Mhm.
There are companies where you can go to deposit your crypto and it will give you a mortgage based on that. In addition to the tokenization of properties that's already happening in New York and other places, which will soon become much more widespread. But the adoption, it's already here. So it's just a matter now of more people getting more involved with that. Having your Bitcoin holdings as your base for your mortgage that you don't have to relinquish or sell once your mortgage is paid off, you still have your Bitcoin. So there's a lot of things, a lot of ways they can integrate crypto, Bitcoin specifically. My nickname for this community, I'm the Bitcoin Realtor. So yes, I'm very, very happy to be part of EasyBot. Did a lot of education for me personally. I didn't really know much, but sitting and learning and understanding their system before I became part of the executive team they made it easy for me. So I hope to do the same. And I don't know if Mr. Anderson spoke about it, but we have a proud group of individuals called Crypto Grands. And these individuals are our seasoned individuals that one would automatically assume, oh, they don't know nothing about computers. They don't know nothing about it. Honey, let me tell you, some of our crypto grands will run circles around some of the other people because of the education they've learned here at EasyBot.
Thank you. Uh-oh. Thank you so much for that. I definitely want to connect with you. If you haven't already done so, please make sure to put your information in the chat. We'd love to connect with some of you and just talk about EasyBot as well as Global Chamber. As I mentioned, we have 695 chapters around the world, and we have calls all throughout the day as well as the week on different topics about international business. So please drop your information in the chat if you have not already done so. And I believe I had one last question or comment before we close the room. Wendell Osborne, if you could unmute yourself, that would be awesome, unless the hand was from another time. Oh, there you go.
No, well, I'm just sitting back. I'm smiling right now because the knowledge is going forward, and this is what this industry needs for the general everyday person. Because I can definitely vouch for crypto, as the gentleman's already said, not coming, it's already here. We took ownership, tokenized actual property in Dubai 3 years ago. So it's not coming, it is absolutely already here. And currently involved in a project here that is allowing little chump change. I mean, literally for a cup of coffee, you can actually digitally own real estate, the actual thing. It's the world has changed. I'm super excited. I'm hearing confirmation. The gentleman that was on, I think he was the CEO. Again, that's wonderful when you're on a Zoom to see the actual person behind it. But as I stated, because of where we've been successful and things like that, the bigger problems down the road. When I heard the size 80K, that's a decent amount. But when you start going into those six-figure amounts and helping that many people into seven-figure amounts, when I was speaking earlier, I was thinking more along, since I've already been through this, not once, not twice. I'm 51 years old. I've been in industry outside of a job since I was 29. So we know they come. And the staff, whoever's involved here, if y'all at 80K, more than likely have not experienced the level that I'm speaking of when the attorney generals start coming because of the haters that are lying or snipping things that are said. And so, y'all know the foolishness I'm talking about. But when you
I
get
do,
into the
yes.
bigger numbers,
Absolutely.
no one's paying any attention at 80K. Take my word for it. Not at 80.
Correct.
Wait till you get into that 300 and half a million and so on up the line. Oh yeah, the headaches. I mean, we're in a project right now, 2.5 years of nonsense by America and Canada, mind you. The rest of the world backed off after just 6 or 7 months of checking out the project to make sure it's legit, and it is. So we've been waiting patiently for over 2 years, almost 3 years now, to get reacclimated in America and Canada so we can get back to helping more people. It's absolutely nuts what happens out here as you really start to help people. So I commend you guys for what you've done. I hope to be a part. Like I said, the individual that brought me your information, I'm going to reach back out to them and to connect and ask more questions or call the number on the screen to the young lady, whatever, and just get more done. But I'm going to drop my information in chat as well before it closes. Hopefully, I get to talk to, like, you're a chamber. I would love to talk to somebody in a chamber, obviously,
Yes,
because we
please
have tools and all that.
drop
So,
your information, and I'll make sure to reach out to you sometime this week as well about the Global Chamber as well.
okay, that
Thank
sounds
you
good. All
so,
right. Well,
yeah,
thank you
thank you.
guys for everything.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank everyone. Our time is up. We have to wrap up the room, but thank you all so much for hopping on the call. Mr. Charles, thank you so much for speaking about EasyBot.
Pleasure.
And thank you all for just getting on and educating yourself about crypto and the Global Chamber. If I could be a resource with the Global Chamber Atlanta chapter, please let me know. My information is in the chat, as well as please drop yours. And as well as reach out to Lisa Pearson on my advisory board if you have any questions about EasyBot. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of the day and week. Take care.
All right. Thank you.